got to get out to our guy, Mark Jones, television voice of the Sacramento Kings and television voice of everything on ESPN.
Something
on ESPN, Mark Jones calling it. How you doing, man?
Something like that. Yeah, man. This NBA season's a wrap for me right now. Now I get to be a spectator for the next month until the NBA finals. So
do you enjoy that? I know you love the work, but do you enjoy getting to kind of kick your feet up and just watch some basketball and be a fan?
I love it. Like, I build my whole day around, like, my wife and I'll get up in the morning and say, okay, Knicks Pacers, 8:00 tonight. Okay, it's workout, it's brunch, it's get some errands done. What are we doing for dinner? Yesterday it was Taco Tuesday. We had sea bass tacos.
Oh,
30 game tonight for the 8:00 game. We shifted up a little bit. I think we got some chicken for tonight. So yeah, the whole day is built around being on the couch at about 15 minutes before tip-off, checking out the last little bit of the pregame show. We time it so that it's dinner, walk Rasta, the Doberman, our dog, and then get back just in time for that 10-15 minute buffer period before tip-off. So yeah, I love it, man. It's nice to be able to just watch the game and be a fan, and watch all the replays, and it's a fun time of the year. You get a little bit of perspective, being able to listen a little bit closer to, Breen and Doris and Richard, and really enjoy their commentary and hear some of the things that come out of their chairs respectively, and the studio shoot. Being able to see Michael Malone yesterday, that was a surprise to me.
A shocker. I looked up and I was like, who is that? Because he sounded good. Yeah. He sounded good. Like he knew what he was doing.
Did a great job. Did a really great job. And the fact that he's, as they say, fresh out, I mean, his perspectives are pretty on point and valuable and pretty organic, coming right out from the Denver bench to where he is now. I thought he was pretty forthcoming yesterday.
Mark, you bring up the word organic. And when I'm watching the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm watching the organic growth of a great young team.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it. They have two guys on the roster that are the age 30. They are 30, like, on the dot. They don't have a 28, a 29, a 27, 28, and 29-year-old. They're a bunch of 23 through 25, 26-year-old guys. Not only does that team look like they're arriving right now, but they look like they're going to be a problem for the league for a long time.
It's amazing, man, the way that Sam Presti, the executive of the year, built it. Now, there is, guys, a little bit of a disclaimer that people forget. Like, this team lost a lot of games for a long time, stockpiling the draft capital that they have. But, it's paying dividends now in the conference finals. But, I was at shoot-around for game 3 and 4 between Denver and Oklahoma City. And you mentioned their age. They had Luther Vandross playing on the Ox for shoot-around. And I'm like, who the heck is playing Luther Vandross? And it was Cason Wallace. I'm like, Cason, what do you know about this? Is old people music, man. What are you doing? He goes, nah, man. He goes, my mom and dad used to play this all the time. And so there's a bunch of old, kind of mature souls on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were having a shooting contest, and they were teasing Alex Caruso. He had missed a couple shots at the end of their shooting competition. They're calling him Unk. I'm like, Alex, how are they going to call you Unk? You're 31 years old. He goes, yeah, I've been going through that all year. So it's just part of the deal with them. But that's a very, they have a prototype player that they have. There's a blueprint, very much like, when San Antonio used to draft people and bring people in back during the days. They brought in people who Pop used to say, quote, had to be over themselves. They have a same type of blueprint there that they do and have in Oklahoma City. And, man, it fits really well, and it's showing on the court.
Mark Jones, television voice of the Kings, joining us on the Insiders here on ESPN 1320. So Minnesota lost game 1 to Golden State after a long layoff. They looked a little bit rusty in that game. Steph gets hurt. Yeah. Golden State pulls away and wins that game. Obviously, Oklahoma City, a much different beast than the Steph-less Warriors. But was there any of last night to you that was, oh man, Minnesota looks a little rusty, and you think it's going to go different moving forward, or is OKC just that dominant?
I think we're going to see a different Minnesota in game 2. I thought they were rusty. I think that was manifested in the number of three-pointers that they missed. I mean, wide open looks.
Yeah.
I don't know how many uncontested threes they had, but just watching the game, I don't need analytics. The eyes are much more trusted. And they missed a lot of open looks in that game. And I don't think they're going to shoot as badly as they did last time. I was down on their process a little bit, just in terms of how they generated their threes. Anthony Edwards probably will be a lot more aggressive, but he was making the right reads, and that's the key for them. Anytime that he's making the right reads, making that skip pass to the corner, which he was, I think they're in pretty good shape for next game. And they've got to be careful about Oklahoma City's ability to turn them over. All the points off turnovers, that's what the Thunder do, right? That's their signature. Yeah. And I think Minnesota probably figured out that the Thunder are heavy on the boxes and elbows, strong gap help, and they've got to be aware of that. And, Julius Randle is playing some of his best basketball. So if he does anywhere close to what he did in game 1, I think this is a 6-7 game series easily.
I think it's going to go less than that, but that's just
really?
Me. Yeah, I think it'll be over pretty quick. I would say I'm more of the 5-6 range as opposed to 6-7, but it's just because I have a lot of faith in the defensive acumen of the Thunder. Mark, we've got a huge announcement in the NBA coming later on today, which is the MVP award. How strange would it be if it wasn't Shai when he's like if we're sitting here, it's like Nikola Jokic, and everyone's like,
it would be really strange. I'm waiting for the Shams bomb to come out, but I think it should be Shai's second of 2 back-to-back MVPs. I thought he was the MVP last year. He this year is the only player in the NBA that ranked in the top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. And, when I look at a player, when I think about my MVPs historically, I've covered this league for 35 years. When I think about MVPs, I think about, I saw prime LeBron, right, who scored all the buckets and at the end of the game was playing that Sikkim defense where he shut down the other team's best scorer. And, when I look at some of the defensive numbers, I think about overall impact. And I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the guy. He ranked, I think it was 42nd in defensive field goal percentage against the closest defender. And I'm not sure what Joker was, I think, 205th, Yeah. And like I said, it's about the eyes for me,
For sure.
I think we've committed malpractice in the media when we don't really put tangible numbers on defensive metrics.
Sure.
And that gets lost in the sauce. So,
I want to let you.
They're all great players. They're all great players. And I guess we'll wait and see who the MVP is. Who do you guys think it is?
It's Shai's year, man.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just if there was any doubt, I think, and I know it's a regular season award, but it felt like Game 7 against Denver was kind of the culmination of that.
Yeah, I mean, guys, he's taken the youngest team in the NBA to the best. Well, last year he did what he did. This year to the best record in the NBA, 68 wins, conference finals. The youngest team. You guys know how hard it is to win as a young group in this league. I mean, it just doesn't.
Mark Jones, television voice of the Kings. I went and I looked up the numbers actually, and your eyes were right. Minnesota last night on open or wide open threes. So a defender 4 feet or further away, 14 of 48. 48 looks open or wide open, and they made 14 of them. That's 29.2%.
There has to be a progression to the mean at some point, and I don't think they're shooting that badly again. But, man, OKC, they make you work for looks, man. I mean, we saw it in the previous series. I was talking to Jamal Murray after Game 4, And he was like, Mark, let me catch my breath for a minute, because he was spent. He was exhausted. Case and Wallace and, those guys, they're picking you up three-quarter court. And like I said, that's the part of basketball I think that sometimes gets lost in some of the media coverage, is the totality of what and how that impacts guys at the other end of the floor.
Yeah.
You know what, Mark? Of course, you are the television voice of the Kings, so we've got to talk some Sacramento Kings here.
For sure.
We're seeing Doug sort of build out a staff. We've seen B.J. Armstrong join Scott Perry's staff. Just what are your thoughts so far on what we're seeing from both the front office and the coaching staff over the last 2 weeks?
I think it's all lining up. There seems to be cohesion of everybody's philosophy, and I know that they're having talks about what directions they want to go. And I think the first kind of smoke coming out of the Vatican will be what, if anything, happens with arguably the team's three best players, right? With Zach, with Domas, and with DeRozan, and how they choose to either build around those three, or whether they choose to move somebody and acquire other players. But I love the experience that Doug has on his staff. Woody's a fantastic basketball mind. Going further up the totem pole, Scott Perry has been part of building championship teams in Detroit, and did a great job in New York, being able to acquire the people they brought in. So I think some of the relationships and kind of front office savvy that Scott brings, and being able to pair Doug with a veteran coach like Woody and B.J. Armstrong, who's been around the block, it sets the team up good for being able to pull the trigger when they need to pull the trigger in the market, right? When, being able to know when it's time to strike, and to be able to pick up the phone and have the relationships around the league, and to be able to know the temperature around the league to get something done sooner rather than later. Because I think if you look back over the last, 2 years, there might have been some missed opportunities. There was a thought at one time that Alex Caruso could have been on his way to Sacramento, I was told. And think about what he would have done in a Kings uniform as a wing defender and a 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Man. Well, Mark, really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for dropping in. We always love having you. We got to step aside here to pay some bills, but thank you so much for jumping on. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy getting some time off during the conference finals, and can't wait to see you back here in Sacramento.
You got to talk to you guys again soon.